In the previous video, we were talking about preferences, but in today's episode, we're going to be talking about very important project settings. It's a very important video before we're going to dive into actual color grading, so be sure to watch completely so you understand what the hell is going on. And the sponsor of today's episode, Origami LUTs, professional cinema LUTs for high-end cameras, and I'm happy to announce that soon we're going to be releasing universal LUTs and LUTs for Sony cameras. Be sure to check them out. Links in the description below. Here we have a very important video, and I'm actually recording a double format. I'm recording through the camera so you can see certain things, and obviously right now you see my screen. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the project settings, and like I said, it's extremely important that you pay attention to this video because the project settings essentially a core of Davinci Resolve. You got to make sure you have everything set up correctly, otherwise you may encounter trouble in the future. Okay, so first thing first, right now I have this shot loaded from Blackmagic 6K camera, so we have our file in 6K. This right here on the left hand side is a Asus ProArt 4K display, and we can see right now that it matches our timeline format. I've made a video about creating a timeline. Please be sure to watch it because it's going to make more sense. I don't want to be going back and forth because otherwise this video is going to be an hour. So I try to make this as quick and comprehensive as possible. So the first thing we see is the master settings. And in the master settings, we see timeline resolution. Basically, this is resolution of your timeline. You can change and select this timeline resolution from the presets. Okay, right over here we have a list of presets. Now, for example, I'm gonna show you right now something very interesting. So here at the bottom we have video monitoring. If you haven't watched my video about Decklink card, be sure to do so because I'm explaining what's the point of the Decklink card and how it works. Basically, this monitor right here on the left hand side is video monitoring. So the signal to this monitor comes from dedicated Decklink card. It doesn't come from my graphics card, it comes from the Decklink card. And this is professional monitor that's been properly calibrated. Now, we're going to see something very interesting right now. So we have our timeline resolution at 1920 by 1080. By default, that's most likely what Davinci is going to give you. Now, watch what's going to happen when I'm going to change it to, let's say, Ultra HD without changing video monitoring. And I'm going to click Save. We can see that here, nothing really changed because 1920 by 1080 and Ultra HD technically has the same aspect ratio, so you're not going to see a difference here. However, on this monitor, everything's zoomed in. Why? Because even though this monitor is 4K, right now this monitor displaying 1080p with a 4K file. So the file actually larger than the display area on this monitor, and it's very important to understand. Now, how do we fix that? We simply go to the video monitoring, and from the list, I'm going to select UHD 2160p. And once I'm going to click Save, watch what's going to happen. It's going to take a second, and then display automatically going to adjust proper 4K. So now we have 4K project, and now we're actually looking at the 4K image. So it's very important you understand this concept. Now, again, do you really need to have Decklink card? I've made a video about it, depending on what you're really doing with Davinci Resolve. In most cases, if you're just learning or you have very, let's say, low paid projects or you're just fooling around, you don't need to have this. However, if you're working professionally or planning on becoming video professional, you definitely need to have this card. Again, I made video about it. Be sure to check it out. I'll put link somewhere above. Okay, so this is our master settings, timeline format, and video monitoring. Now, what about optimized media and render cache? Basically, what is optimized media and render cache is a system where, let's say your computer cannot handle, let's say you're color grading something so extensive that your graphics card simply cannot calculate playback in real time. And again, I made a dedicated video about it, how to do optimized media and render cache. Again, I'm going to put it on a screen. Be sure to watch it. It's a dedicated video specifically for this section. However, so this is what it is. Your computer cannot handle, let's say, 8K file in a real-time playback. Therefore, you're going to do optimized media or render cache. By default, on the PC, you're going to have DNxHR HQX. If you're a Mac user, you're most likely going to have ProRes. Basically, it's a Mac format. Now, depending on really your computer, by default, Davinci Resolve going to pick optimized settings. However, in some cases, those settings may still be a little bit high for you, so you can manually actually lower it. So for example, instead of HQX, you can select HQ or SQ in order to get real-time playback. Or you may want to pick H264. Again, depending on the hardware, this is going to make playback real-time. So what do I mean by playback in real-time? So this is, we have a 6K file. And if I'm going to click playback, we can see it's actually playing from the slow hard drive. We can see this green thing over here, 23976. That means this file right now being played back in a real time. However, let me create a new note, Alt-S, and I'm going to do some crazy effect. For example, let me add blur. Blur usually slows things down, so I'm going to add 2 of them. Again, another major factor that I'm actually playing this back from the slow hard drive, also in the episode 1 where we're talking about it. So now when I'm going to try to play this back, well, I guess my computer a little too powerful for it. Let me do, I don't know, let me do something like that. Let me just add a bunch of random effects so we can see. Okay. Nope. Still. Okay, let me add more. The haze. I don't know. Let me do something like that. Okay, now we have very, very slow playback. So we're not seeing this thing in real time. In some cases, it's okay. However, you always want to make sure that whatever you see on your screen is playing in real time, because you may not see artifacts, noise, and etc. And when you deliver this kind of material, you may run into trouble because you may see something that you didn't when your computer barely, playing back and struggling. Therefore, we have optimized media. So in order to do that, we go to the playback, render cache, and we're going to do either smart or user. Smart, Davinci Resolve would automatically figure this out and turn it on if it needs to be. And user, you can select user, and then simply right click and select render cache color output. And I'm going to start doing render cache. Again, watch my first episode. I'm talking specifically where all this information goes, so you know what you're dealing. So don't watch this video by itself and then try to figure out the answers. I've made dedicated videos for each section, so be sure that you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, this one enable background caching after X amount of seconds. Basically, when you have this set up to, let me show you again, playback smart. When you have this set up to smart, Davinci Resolve gonna wait 5 seconds when you don't move your mouse, and then it's going to start doing render caching in the background automatically. So it's very important to know this. You can set this up to be 30 seconds, or you can set up to be 1 second. Again, depending on your preference or how you like to work. Therefore, we have working folder. This is basically Davinci default cache. Again, in the first video that I've made and in the second video where we're talking about it, I recommend to have all these folders to be either SSD or NVMe. You definitely want to have fast storage. You don't want to be running it from, a slow 5400 RPM laptop hard drive, because it's just going to be a nightmare. You're not going to see real-time playback like that. So this is, we have master settings. This is our master settings. The next one, really cool, it's called image scaling. So basically, what's going on here? It's a very cool window, and I'm going to show you a really cool example. Just for the sake of math, let me go back and change this project to 1920 by 1080, and I'm also going to change video monitoring to same HD. Okay, so we're going back to our standard resolution. Okay, so image scaling. For example, let's say we want to create a widescreen. Now, in Davinci Resolve, there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can either go to the timeline and select output blanking, for example, something like that. But then the trick is you still have 1920 by 1080. You're just covering the image with a black bar. However, if you want to do a real widescreen, not the fake one like this one, like let's say quote overlay, but I'm talking about a real one. Let me show you how you can do this. Okay, so let's have, this is our frame. So we're going to go again to image scaling, and we're going to go to output scaling. And we're going to select this, match timeline settings. We're going to click on this, and that will allow us to do our manual, basically, resolution. And I know that the widescreen that I just showed you is going to be 1920 by 800. So I'm going to change 1080 to 800, and we're going to click Save. And we see that it became widescreen, but the image kind of just in the middle. Now, instead of doing the manual labor and scaling everything by hand, we can simply select Scale Full Frame with Crop. Okay, just like that, and click Save. And now we have a true widescreen without black bars. So I think this is much better way of doing this. Instead of slapping overlay on this, you now have a true basically widescreen resolution. Obviously, you can do it to any resolution. I just, know number by heart. But you can easily do math and figure out basically what your resolution is going to be. So this is image scaling. You can do this sort of stuff over here. Next one, color management. By default, color management gonna be set to Rec 709. And to most of you, and by most of you, I'm saying probably 99% of you, you never really need to change this. I've been getting this question for like 4 years since I started my channel. What's your color management? What's this? What's that? Just default. You don't need to change anything because Rec 709 right now is the standard. So unless you're doing HDR and other sort of stuff, and again, I have specific video explaining this, you don't need to change anything over here. Okay? So keep that in mind. Dolby Vision HDR 10 Plus. I have a video. I'm going to put this over here on the screen. Again, I don't want to spend another 20 minutes talking about it. I'll put a link. You can watch dedicated video explaining all the settings over here. Now, the one's very interesting is a lookup table. This is where you load a lot, okay? Now, this is very important. When you load a lot through lookup table, through basically project settings, your lot going to be at the very end, and everything you're going to be doing is going to be over here before the lot. So when you're loading right over here, no matter what you do, let's say this is going to be our lot. all your adjustments going to be happening before the LUT. So it's very important that you understand this. Okay, now let me demonstrate. So I'm going to reset everything. So we're going to load one of the origami LUTs for Blackmagic camera. Okay, origami LUTs. Let's see, Blackmagic. Okay, Gen 5, and let's do, let's say, version 3. Okay, and then we're going to click Save. And all of a sudden, we have our LUT applied to our project and to our monitor. So now, whatever the color grading that I'm going to do, let me show you. It's basically going to be before the LUT. With this kind of configuration, I never can grade after the LUT. So very, very important. Okay, let's reset all that. And we can see how awesome this footage now looks with a fantastic origami LUT. To install the LUT, simply click over here, open LUT folder, and you can put all the LUTs in there. Again, I have dedicated video for it. I'm going to put another link so you can take a look. I don't want to spend too much time explaining something that I've already covered. Okay, and then we have broadcast save. I'm going to cover this in the separate video. There's not much to it, but I just want to make sure you understand the basics first, and then we're going to come back to this, and I'm going to explain it a little bit more. So next one we have general options. Normally here, you don't need to change anything. You got to be, again, top-notch professional to really kind of dig deep into these kind of menus. For average user, actually including myself, I never really need to change here anything, even though I work professional as a colorist. On a very, very rare occasion, we do change something here, but in general, don't even worry about it. Now, camera raw. So basically, there's two ways to access raw settings in Davinci Resolve. First one is over here. So this is your raw settings. And in order to change that, you do clip, and it gives you access to all the raw settings for your clip. So think of it, for individual clip, you have to do this. However, if we're going to go back to the project settings, this one will apply to all your raw clips in your timeline. So for example, let me demonstrate. I'm going to go here again to project. And here we're going to select Blackmagic Raw, Project, okay, Highlight Recovery, Color Space, Gamma. By the way, I don't recommend you changing Blackmagic design to anything. I know there's lots of fake videos online suggesting, oh, you can change it to Lex. Do not do that. This camera is designed to be working with the Blackmagic design, Color Space, and Gamma. So keep it as is. Okay? Color science. Here you can select either Gen 4 or Gen 5. So in this case, let's select Gen 5. Okay? And we're going to click Save. And you see nothing changed. The only thing we have is highlight recovery. We have that little tick mark. However, if we're going to change this to Gen 4, so here we have Gen 5. Watch what's going to happen now. Now we have Gen 5. And because our LUT was for now we have Gen 4, and because our LUT was for Gen 5, now it doesn't look right. So we have to go again, change to Gen 5, click Save, and we're back to the normal settings. So this is very straightforward. This is where you basically apply settings to your entire timeline. Capture and playback. Again, I made a dedicated video about decklink card. This is where you specify all your decklink card stuff. Okay. Capture, if you have a scanner, when you scan film, this is section for you. Again, in 99% of the stuff, you're never going to use this. So I would say don't even worry about it. And then we have subtitles. Again, by default, don't worry about it. And we have Fairlight, and again, by default, you don't really need to worry about it. The only thing you may change is your loudness scale, based on what's the project going or what country you're located. This is the parameters that you put here as a default. Now, once you configure this, you can go to the preset and save your template, save as, and we're gonna go do, let's say, Aram K. We're gonna click OK, and now I have my personal preset basically created. Next time that I want to do this, just click load, and we're gonna have our settings load up right away. So basically this is it. It's very important that you know this and understand this. Be sure to watch all those videos that I was talking about because they're extremely important for you to really understand what is going on. And next time we're going to start actually diving into color grading finally, and I'm going to show you some incredible cool stuff. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to subscribe to my Instagram. I'm going to put all the links on the screen. And I'm going to see you guys in the next episode. Take care.